Welcome to Love God, Love Self, Love Others. My father was a great scholar. He was a life learner. He enjoyed the process of adding to what he was going to take into the next life, as we've been told in Scripture. So, as he progressed to the end of his life, or got closer to the end of this mortality, he tried to learn as much as he could about the next estate. And as you know, we have very limited knowledge about what really our existence in the next life is going to be. And he would wrestle with this and he'd struggle with it and he'd come to his own conclusions. And some of them were probably factually or scripturally based, and others weren't. And others he just got frustrated with. And when he got to that point, he said, "Dad, you're trying to understand eternal concepts or even an eternal existence in a mortal setting or with your mortal mind, and it's not capable of that. You will understand differently as you pass through the veil. You will understand differently in the next estate. You will be given more knowledge, and some believe more of our mind will be unlocked so we can understand these concepts." So now we still, when we run up against something that we really don't understand, that really is bothering us. I had this several years ago. I did a lot of study. I read numerous books and found a principle and a policy that I had a problem with, and I couldn't understand it. And I read more and I fasted more and I prayed more and I talked to other people. I went to the temple and I'd pray. And it took me many months before what I think I received as an answer that was right for me. Not necessarily for the next person. It might not even been the correct answer, but in God's grace, he gave me this, and it was very clear. There were two parts to this message. One, you weren't there at the time. You're only reading accounts of that through other people. And then the second one, which was more important, and that doesn't pertain to you now. And for me, that's what I needed. For some, put it on a box, up on a shelf. For some, they might never receive an answer, and they're supposed to wrestle with it throughout this existence. But for me, God gave me enough for me to say, "Thank you. You are correct. I wasn't there, and it doesn't pertain to me, so why am I making this my problem?" So as you run into this, I came up with yet another analogy, and again, this one I have no expertise in. But it's as if you were, well, I did play the trombone since the 4th grade to the 8th grade. But when I couldn't play offbeats, I realized I'd better not stick with any musical instrument. And it was the sexy instrument of the trombone, no less. So, but let's say you're trying to master a piano piece. And let's say you think you can take on Rachmaninoff or one of the hard Mozart pieces. And you can't. And you hit that point, and you hit that, and you hit it, and you can't master it. Do you give up trying to? Do you stop playing music? Do you give up the piano? No, one would say, okay, maybe you're not ready for Rachmaninoff. Maybe let's have you work on Brahms or Beethoven, and have you work your way up to that. But so many of us, when we hit a rough patch, or if there's something we don't understand, or our mortal minds aren't even equipped to understand that, sometimes we stop playing. Sometimes we even think maybe Rachmaninoff or Mozart didn't know what they were doing. Or maybe Mozart is just for other people and I really should just listen to music. And we're not to do that. We're to work our way through it. We are to become better at understanding, to learn more, to become more in tune with his spirit, to understand more how he communicates, to learn from others that have also been on this path ahead of us. So again, when you hit those hard questions, when you hit those stumbling blocks in life that seem impassable, that maybe rock you to your core, don't give it up. Don't walk away from it completely. Keep working at it, and maybe you have to try another piece of music. Maybe you have to try something else that might get you through that point in time. Maybe you do have to walk away from music until you are mature enough or capable enough to take on such complicated or complex music. But don't give up. Don't walk away from it. Don't close the sheet music and say, I'm never doing that. Or worse, they don't know what they're talking about just because you don't understand it at this point in your life. This is my understanding, this is my belief, and this is just my opinion.